one girl, and it's a man and a woman talking, arguing or discussing for a crash in there about their car.
Yes, maybe they are arguing about that, an accident. Stephanie, about picture number 4.
Yes. In picture number 4, maybe the man is sad because probably they don't have a girlfriend.
Yeah, could be. Lauren, picture number 5.
I can observe a girl, she's sleeping on the desk because maybe she has a stressful day, she has a lot of work or a lot of homework to do.
Okay, could be. The last one. Again, can you tell me, Maria, about picture number 6?
The one with the mother and the kid.
Yes, the last one.
Okay, so I think he might have misbehaved or he was yelling at his mother.
Possibly. Yes, okay. Yes, all the ideas that you have are good because we don't know. We're just looking at pictures and just talking about possibilities about this. Okay, so you will see later these pictures in the class. The topic for today is third conditional, so we're going to continue with the series about third conditional. Last class, or the last week, you checked something about the first, the second conditional. First, before starting with the third conditional, we are going to make a review about the second conditional, the use, the structure, and just some examples. Okay, second conditional is used to talk about possibilities. So hypothetical situations about the present or future. The structure is in the if clause, we use the past simple. It's also possible to use the past continuous. And in the main clause, we can use a modal plus the infinitive. So now is modal would, modal could, modal might, plus one verb in the infinitive. Sometimes it's also possible to use one verb in the verb to be plus one verb in ing. So it depends on the idea that you want to express. But the most important is in the if clause, you use the past. In the main clause, you are going to use a modal and a verb. If I won the lottery, I would buy a yacht. So that is past, modal would plus one verb in the base form of infinitive. If you weren't working here, you'd, so it's the contraction, you would be in prison. So remember that for the second conditional, it's possible to use where for all the pronouns. This is not a mistake in the second conditional, it's part of the structure. If it weren't for his help, I might not be talking to you now. So now we have an ing form in this structure. But all of these examples are about the second condition. So it's an imaginary situation, is hypothetical situation. Sometimes it refers to the present. It could also refer to a future possibility, the second condition. You can use I, he, she, it, was. Informal in spoken English is very common to listen to people using was, using were, but grammatically in the second conditional is better to use were. You can omit the comma if you switch the two clauses. So the comma is not necessary if the condition is in the middle. Okay, so you can omit that. We're going to make the difference between the modal would, the modal could, or might. So in the second one, we can use could or might for the same thing. So there is no difference in that. But there is a difference between would and could or might. The main difference between would and could in the second conditional is the degree of possibility or likelihood in the action happening. Would suggests a higher degree of certainty and implies that the action is more likely to happen. It often conveys a sense of intention or preference. So when you express an idea of preference or an intention that you have, it's better to use the modal would and not the modal could. If it rained tomorrow, I would stay inside. So the speaker has a definite plan to stay inside if it rains. So it's something that you prefer. It is a preference. On the other hand, could suggest a lower degree of certainty and implies that the action is less likely to happen. It often conveys a sense of possibility or potential. So for example, if I won the lottery, I could quit my job. The speaker acknowledges that winning the lottery is not a definite outcome because it may happen, it might not happen, is a possibility. But it is a possibility that could lead to quitting their job. So that is a main difference between the use of would and could in the second condition, in the second conditional. And now that you're going to check the third conditional, the idea is the same because in the third conditional, you are going to use sometimes the modal could, sometimes the modal would. So you have to analyze which one is better to use. Okay, we have here some questions about the second conditional. Remember that this is only a hypothetical situation. Isabel, can you answer the first question? If you were a famous person, who would you like to be and why? Why would you like to be that famous person?
Okay. If I were a famous person, I would like to be like
Say one name.
Teresa de Calcutta, because she was a very generous lady.
Sorry, who?
Teresa de Calcutta.
Okay. Why?
Because she was generous and human lady.
Yeah, you can say, I would like to be that person because she helped a lot of people. Stephanie, the second one. What would you like to do if you had $1 million? Or what would you like to do if you were a millionaire?
Okay. If I have $1 million, I would like to give to poor children and also poor people and try to help animals.
Okay, yeah, so you would like to help people in general. Brian, the third question. If you were elected the president of Ecuador, what would you do?
If I were the elected president of Ecuador, I would give opportunities to study all the careers for young people, I guess.
Okay, yeah. Okay, guys, this is the review of second conditional. So remember, in the if clause, we use the past, and in the main clause, we use one modal, modal could, modal would, modal might, and one verb in the infinitive of the past. So this is, before we start the third conditional, we're going to check the uses. There are two main uses for the third conditional. The first one is to express past regrets. The second one is to criticize other people's actions. So now, today we are going to check the first use, only to express past regrets. Okay, so we are going to focus on only on the first one. But first, let's check what is a regret. This is the definition of regret or remorse. So this is taken from the Cambridge Dictionary. So we're going to read it. Maria, can you help me with the reading about a regret or a remorse? Yeah, Maria Andrade.
Okay, this regret. A feeling of sadness about something sad or wrong, or about a mistake that you have made, and a wish that it could have been different and better.
And the next one, remorse.
A feeling of sadness and being sorry for something you have done.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
So both of them are synonyms. If you see, the two words are used to express a feeling of sadness. So when we feel sorry for something that we did, we often feel terrible about that. So that we're going to express regrets. We're going to talk about our own regrets or maybe about other people's regrets. Okay, in the third conditional, we have, again, two clauses. The if clause, where is the condition? The if clause, the tense used there is going to be the past perfect. And in the main clause, you are going to use modal would, modal have, and past participle of the verb. Or remember that here in the third conditional, you can also use modal could or modal might. So now you know which one is the difference between would and could. And just to make sure about the tenses. Okay, in the second conditional, you're going to have the if clause. In the if clause, the tense that you're going to use is the past perfect. Can you tell me what is the structure of the past perfect? Laura, can you give me only the structure of past perfect?
Laura.
Yes, miss. That is just the instruction.
Only the structure. What is the structure of past perfect?
That's something that happens in the
Not
past.
explanation. Only give me the structure of past perfect, which is the structure of the tense, the past perfect.
Is have plus the verb in past participle.
Yeah, so that is the structure. Had and past participle of one, any verb. Or you can have the negative, hadn't and past participle of one verb. And in the main clause, the tense that you are going to use in the main clause, we are going to have one modal, so it can be modal would, modal could, modal might, plus have, and past participle of one verb. Do you know what is the name of the tense? Anybody? This is the perfect conditional. Okay, the perfect conditional is one modal plus have and past participle of the verb. You cannot omit here. You cannot eliminate have, or you cannot eliminate the past participle of the verb. This is the in the if clause, the tense is the past perfect, and in the main clause, the tense is the perfect conditional. Okay, so the perfect conditional here is this. Would, could, might, plus have, and the past participle of the verb. So here you have some examples. If you had come to class, you would have passed the exam. So you didn't come to class and didn't pass the exam. If he hadn't been wearing a helmet, he might have died. He didn't die because he was wearing a helmet. So now to understand this better, we're going to make the connection between the past, so about the real past situation, and this is the hypothetical situation about the past. So third conditional expresses an opposite idea of the reality of what happened in the past. So this is, the reality is this, that you didn't come to class and you didn't pass the exam. So the third conditional is a hypothetical past situation. Okay, so here you have an example. This is the condition, this is the reality, what happened in the past. And you have the consequence. This is the real past situation. I didn't study hard, so I didn't pass the test. So this is what happened in reality in the past. Now, if I want to express an opposite idea, because this is my regret, I didn't study and I didn't pass. So now I feel terrible. Maybe I feel sad. Maybe I cried because I didn't pass the test. And this is the third conditional. If I had studied hard, I would have passed the test. This expresses a past regret. So now I cannot change the situation. I can only express a regret that I have, that I didn't study and I didn't pass the test. The condition here is I didn't wake up early, so I missed the bus. This is the reality, past reality. The regret is past perfect here. If I had woken up early, I wouldn't have missed the bus. Okay, so it's only expressing an opposite idea to the reality, to the thing that happened in reality. Now, we have here these examples. So this is a picture that you saw before at the beginning of the class. This is the past situation, the real past situation. Peter had an accident because he didn't drive carefully. So he had an accident because he was not careful. If I want to express a past regret, so I would say, Peter wouldn't have had an accident if he had driven carefully. Or if I am Peter, or imagine I am Peter, I would say, I wouldn't have had an accident if I had driven carefully. But I am expressing the sentence about him. So I can do that. This is the perfect conditional. You can switch you can switch both of the conditions. I mean, the clauses is no problem. I can say, I can start the sentence with if, or I can switch them. There is no problem in that. The picture about this woman, this is the real past situation. Isabel got up late and she was late for work. So this is what happened in reality. She got up really late and she arrived late. So now, if I want to express the unreal past situation, I would say, if Isabel had gotten up earlier, she wouldn't have been late for work. So you have here the past perfect and here the perfect conditional. Okay, you are going to do this example. So this is Tom. Tom didn't ask Emily out, so he didn't invite Emily, so she dated another person. Can you express the regret, or can you express an opposite idea of the reality, to the past real situation? Can you make the sentence about the unreal past situation? Can you use the third conditional here? Isabel, can you tell me what is the sentence here using the structure of third conditional? Can you express a hypothetical situation about the past? Isabel, do you understand? Are you there? Isabel Arevalo?
Yes, I'm here, teacher, but
You don't understand.
I don't know how to do ideal sentences, but let me see.
Okay. You are going to change the past simple
Yes, I can do it.
into past perfect and the perfect conditional. This is the reality. Tom didn't ask Emily out, so he didn't invite Emily, and Emily dated another person. And now he's very sad. So he is not happy, he is sad. He has a regret, or he regrets his action that he didn't invite Emily. When you express the opposite idea, a hypothetical idea about the past, in the if clause, you are going to use past perfect. Tom is the person. So now the sentence here would be, in the if clause, past perfect. In the main clause or in the consequence, the perfect conditional. Okay, I will help you, Isabel. If Tom so normally what we do in the third conditional is to change the negative and positive. This is negative.
It hadn't asked.
In the hypothetical, you are going to use the positive because he didn't invite. Now, in the hypothetical situation, you are going to use positive. So the positive, past perfect.
Had asked.
Yes, if Tom had asked. So imagine this is the contrary. If Tom had asked Emily out, what would have been the consequence? Can anybody help me with the consequence? So she dated another person. Maybe Emily liked Tom, but Tom never invited her, so she dated another person.
Could be she wouldn't
Yes, this is
have,
negative.
she wouldn't have the date.
Past participle. She wouldn't, this is correct, this is negative. She wouldn't have dated another man. Yes. This is a hypothetical situation. It's the opposite from the reality or what happened in the past. If Tom had asked Emily out, if Tom had invited Emily, she wouldn't have dated another man. Or maybe I can say this also, she would have dated him. She would have dated Tom. It's also possible to say that. Okay, this one. I didn't study for the final exam and I failed it. This is the real past situation. Which one is the hypothetical situation about the past? Brian.
I'm thinking about the answer.
Yes. The third conditional is not easy. You have to analyze. It's not only memorizing the structure. You have to analyze, understand what happened in the past, and then change this to a hypothetical situation about the past.
Okay, if I had studied for the
Yeah.
final exam, I wouldn't have failed it.
Yes, that's correct. If I had studied. So you have the past perfect here. If I had studied for the final exam, I wouldn't. So remember that the past is positive in this case because I failed. If you're going to make an opposite idea, so you change that for negative. I wouldn't have failed it. Or maybe you can use the positive and change the verb. So I can say, I would, if I had studied for the final exam, I would have approved it. I would have approved the exam. It's another verb, but the idea is similar. So you have here past perfect and the perfect conditional.
So it was correct or incorrect?
Yeah, it's correct.
Okay, thank you.
This is a hypothetical situation about the past because in the reality, the past reality is that you didn't study and you failed. This is hypothetical situation. If I had, so imagine the opposite situation. If I had studied for the final exam, I wouldn't have failed it. Or I would have approved the final exam. So it's always the opposite idea. So that is a past regret. Okay, skip it. Don't have much time for this exercises. Okay, before this, you're going to watch a video. So it's not very long. And can you please watch the video and just remember the structure of the conditional, and you're going to tell me which conditionals did you see or which conditionals did you listen in this conversation.
Lourdes, could you please send us the link? I think it would be better that you send us the link through some chat.
Let's see, the internet is slow.
Did a student look at the Zoom chat because Lourdes is going to send us the link?
Right. I think we're almost ready. I just hope everyone arrives soon so we can hide before Amy gets here.
What time did you tell people to come?
About now, and Amy half an hour later.
But most of our friends arrive late, and Amy's usually early.
It'll be okay. I told them to be on time. They'll all be here in a minute.
Oh, hi, Amy. I bet we're the first to arrive.
Hello. First for what?
The party, of course. The surprise party.
I came to revise a bit with Daisy. Nobody told me anything about a party.
They must have just forgotten. You can revise another day, can't you?
Yes, but I haven't brought anything. And if I'd known, I would have worn something nicer.
I'll say my present is from both of us. Well, nobody told me. I thought it was for Sophie.
I did tell you. If you didn't play video games at the same time as you read your texts.
I definitely would have remembered if you told me.
Listen, it doesn't matter. I think it's really, really sweet of you to have a party for me. And I am surprised. I couldn't be more surprised.
Oh, good. Happy birthday for 2 days ago.
Thanks a lot, Daisy. And Ollie, it's a lovely surprise.
It would have been even better if Alfie hadn't ruined it.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear.
Right, I think we're almost ready. I just hope everyone arrives soon so we can hide before Amy gets here.
What time did you tell people to come?
About now, and Amy half an hour later.
But most of our friends arrive late, and Amy's usually early.
It'll be okay. I told them to be on time. They'll all be here in a minute.
Oh, hi, Amy. I bet we're the first to arrive.
Hello. First for what?
The party, of course. The surprise party.
I came to revise a bit with Daisy. Nobody told me anything about a party.
They must have just forgotten. You can revise another day, can't you?
Yes, but I haven't brought anything. And if I'd known, I would have worn something nicer.
I'll say my present is from both of us. And you look great. You always look great. Well, let's go in, shall we?
What are you doing here?
We're here for the party, of course. The surprise party.
Well, it's not a surprise anymore, is it?
What do you mean?
It was a surprise party for Amy, you idiot.
Oh. Well, nobody told me. I thought it was for Sophie.
I did tell you. If you didn't play video games at the same time as you read your texts.
I definitely would have remembered if you told me.
Listen, it doesn't matter. I think it's really, really sweet of you to have a party for me. And I am surprised. I couldn't be more surprised.
Oh, good. Happy birthday for 2 days ago.
Thanks a lot, Daisy. And Ollie, it's a lovely surprise.
It would have been even better if Alfie hadn't ruined it.
Happy birthday to you.
All right, this is it. So, Laura and Stephanie, can you tell me which sentences did you listen or did you read about third conditional? So expressing hypothetical past situation. Do you remember any?
Not specific, but I think it's they have invaded, something like this.
Okay. Laura, do you remember any?
I'm Laura.
Okay, these are the ones that they use in the conversation. Let's see one. You see both clauses,
Yes.
the if clause and the main clause, or the if clause and the consequence. If I known, I would have worn. So in the sentence, the person said, I would have worn something better or something nicer. What is the problem in the third conditional? Well, in general, when people speak, is that they make contractions. You have here contraction, would, and have. So would. Contraction. In the if clause, you can make the contraction of had. So it is the apostrophe and letter D. And in the second clause or in the main clause, you can also make contraction of would, and it's the same. So this is why when people speak, as they make the contraction, it's very complicated to understand them. So you have, in the second example, you have two contractions. It would, so the complete sentence is would have been even better if I hadn't read it. So when people speak, they try to speak faster, or as they speak really fast, they try to make a lot of contractions. So that is the reality when we speak in Spanish. We speak fast, so it's difficult for other people to understand us. In English is the same. So when they make contractions, and in this particular topic of the third conditional, they can make contractions in the first clause, in the if clause, and they can make contraction in the second clause with have and would. So when they speak, the sentence is really fast. So it's very complicated to understand them. But in this conversation of 2 minutes, you have these 3 sentences about the third conditional. Okay, this is for homework. So I am going to share with you this link. You are going to open the link and try to practice the third conditional. So the sentences that you are going to see here are the past real situation. You are going to change this to the opposite, to the imaginary situation about the past, or a hypothetical past situation. So let me see if I can open this.
Okay, that's so. Lourdes?
Let me see this. Just one. Okay.
Okay, Lourdes, that is your class? It's over?
Just one example of this one.
Okay, sorry. Okay,
Maria. Maria Andrade, this sentence, the sentence about last week. Can you read it?
Can you make it bigger, please?
Yeah, this one about last
The
week.
thing is, like, the letters are too little and I can't see.
Sorry, I can make it. Here?
A ver. Number 1, right? It said last week you forgot to water your plants and they died.
And see that sentence. Do you see the sentence here that said last week you found $200?
Okay, last week you found $200 on the street and bought a new mobile phone.
Okay, so imagine that this situation happened to you. Last week you found $200 and you bought a new phone, a new cell phone.
Okay.
Can you change this sentence into the hypothetical past situation?
Can it be negative? I'm gonna try because I'm not sure. If I hadn't found $2,000 on the street, I wouldn't have bought a new mobile phone.
Yes, that's correct. Because the reality is that you found $200 and you bought a mobile phone. So now, in this sentence, it's possible to use could. So it expresses a possibility. So in the hypothetical situation, you say, if I hadn't found $200, I wouldn't have bought a mobile phone. Okay, so this is going to be for practice. You can open the link and practice the hypothetical situation about the past. And that's it. I know it's a difficult topic, but try to practice it. Thank you, guys.
Okay, Lourdes, applause for you. I like your class a lot because you have all the stages. You are very organized with your class. You are very organized with your class. You made the process. You have an engage, you have an introduction, you have a production, and you start with pictures. You engage your student with the pictures, and Lourdes, did you teach with deductive or inductive approach? What do you think?
I think it is in the inductive.
According to our classes, to the class that we had today, do you teach with deductive or inductive approach?
I am not sure about the details of the difference, but I think it is inductive.
Did you learn about, because I think that you were late to my class at the beginning, no? About deductive and inductive? Do you know? It is clear for, it is clear for you what is deductive and inductive approach?
I have an idea, but I'm not very clear about it.
Okay, Laura, could you explain what is deductive and inductive?
Okay, I understand that inductive is when we use some pictures or many different ways to acquire the knowledge. For example, videos or what else, or maybe comics or music or different way to explain the grammar. No, not just the grammar structure. You can use in different way, as I told you before, pictures, videos, music, songs, or comics, for example.
Okay, for example, Lourdes, deductive approach is when the teacher focus on rules at the beginning in order to teach grammar. For example, you start the class, you start with your engage, and then your introduction start with the rules. Okay, it's focused on the teacher. The teacher is explaining rules. But when you are teaching in deductively, you are using the inductive approach. You maybe start your class, you are giving a grammar class, right? But maybe you can start with a project where something a dynamic or something that the student don't realize that they are learning grammar without focusing on rules. After that, you can explain the rules. Okay, so for example, you explain the rule and then you observe. After that, you observe how your student produce the language. But in a deductive way, inductive approach, you start your grammar class, for example, with a conversation. For example, if you are teaching a third conditional, for example, you can have your student make a conversation or a reading without they are realizing that they are teaching grammar, for example. After that, you focus on grammar. Okay, and now that is my question. Your class, did you teach today with deductive or inductive way, inductive approach? Did you teach deductive or inductive? With deductive or inductive approach? Brian, Fernandez, Stephanie, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you think about Lourdes? Was it a deductive approach or inductive approach?
Maybe it was inductive. She didn't introduce the rules and the structure.
Remember that the engage is that, forget about engage. The engage is another thing. But then after the engage, how did she start the class?
I think that she used both inductive and deductive. At the beginning, it was inductive because she acts
Why
as
inductive? Why?
because
Remember, the engage is another thing. Engage is we're talking about introduction. The
I
engage
know.
is another thing. The engage was the pictures. Lourdes
And
say, what do you see in my screen? The picture is that was the engage part.
it was the video. The video was inductive.
No, but okay. So remember, could you please, Lourdes, read the screen. Read the screen, Lourdes. Do you remember the video that I showed you? The video? Lourdes, could you please, is Lourdes there?
She says that her computer froze.
Okay. Sí, porque no está claro lo de para Lourdes la pregunta, ¿no? De lo que es deductive and inductive. Esperemos que ella regrese. Okay, so remember, engage is another thing. Do you remember the examples? Do you remember the teacher roles in the video? So, Lourdes taught us deductive with deductive wave or inductive. After the engage, what did she do? Students, after the engage, what did she do? After the engage, what did she do? Dear students, Lourdes, after your engage, what did you do?
Sorry, Lucy, my computer froze. I cannot
Yeah, there
stop
is no problem. There is no problem. Okay, my question is, after your engage, what did you do? What did you do? What did she do, guys? After Lourdes engage. How did she start the class after the engage?
With a feedback.
With a feedback? Are you sure, Fernanda, Isabel, Lourdes? Laura, do you remember? Hey guys, after Lourdes made the engage, how did she start the class? Maria. Maria, Stephanie.
I'm here. Wasn't she asking? No, in the pictures.
Yeah, forget about the picture. After the pictures.
She was explaining the grammar part.
The grammar part. Lourdes, when you finished your engage, you started with a grammar part, right?
I was revision about a previous class.
Previous.
Yes, that was the part.
Yeah, and after that, you explain the third conditional. You explain rules. That is deductive approach. That is deductive approach. involves the learners being given a general rule, which is applied to specific language examples. Because Lourdes didn't made an activity like, for example, the activity that do you remember the Rolf video, or have us to make an activity like, for example, dynamics. You wrote the dynamics here. You wrote the examples. Let me check because I have to finish the class. Just hold on. That's why I made them write the deductive, inductive examples of your introduction, like Viviana. I remember the Viviana and Brian, right? I don't know if Lourdes, you were here when we were doing these examples.
I just entered when you were doing, but I didn't know what.
We writing. Remember, when you start teach inductively, means that you're not going to start with grammar rules. You focus first on activity, right? On activity. Without they are your student, don't realize that they are learning grammar. After that, you can focus on grammar. You have them to maybe to produce the language first. Okay, so look at this. Inductive, start with observation. You have the student to make experience to develop the grammar. After that, you explain the grammar. But there is no problem because, as I told you, I teach in the deductive approach, deductive way. It's good too. For example, for my beginners student, I can teach with deductive, expose the grammar first, right? It's good. Your Lourdes, I like a lot your class because you made us to work, think. You have a lot of exercises, and you name your student. You name your student. You have them participate. But okay, you explained first, second, but second conditional, but it was a review, right?
Yeah. So the thing is that this topic of third conditional is for upper intermediate to advanced students. So yeah, in a normal class, it would take more time to make the review and then continue with the third, because it's difficult. Yes, it's a topic where students have to analyze, understand.
Yes, and something that I have to tell you, that you are very organized in your class, and you have show us the grammar using technology, your screen and everything, and you wrote. I like a lot your class because you are very organized. You explain with the stages, as I told you, the ESA class. Okay, so I have your notes here, and this is all for today. It is clear about inductive and deductive.
Yeah. So in a class, we can use both, like a mix of both, inductive and deductive.
You have to recognize the class, the kind of a student that you have, right? Obviously, as I told you, for beginners, I like to use the deductive approach, because if I start with a game or something that they don't that they can't produce because they don't know the grammar yet. So it's impossible to teach in a deductively way, right? So I think that you can use this approach, inductive approach, when you recognize that your students are able to produce the grammar without expose the grammar first. For example, if you have a group of students that never see English in their life, you have to expose the grammar first, because the same that they write, the same that they can speak after, right? Okay, let me take a picture. Please turn on your camera. Turn on your camera.
Miss, I have a problem with my camera. I'm so sorry. I turn on, but you can see. But I am
Okay.
hearing classes.
Okay, that is no problem. Okay, next Wednesday, we're going to look at more tips about grammar, okay? Just hold on, let me take a picture. 1, 2, 3. Okay. This is all for today. I'm gonna send the picture through WhatsApp right now. Okay, have a nice night. See you next time, dear students.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Teacher, thank you. Good night.
Good night, bye.
Teacher, just one question about the grammar class.
Yes.
I do different in my class. I'm trying to do the best, but I don't work with no trabajo con diapositivas. Yo trabajo
Trata de
en
hacerlo. Trata de hacer con diapositivas porque para poder saber, pues no, lo que estás. Porque ¿cómo trabajarías?
Yo trabajé en Word. No sé si pueda compartir ahorita la pantalla.
Tú dices, pero sí vas a compartir pantalla.
Claro. Yo voy a compartir pantalla y voy a ir haciendo, más o menos mi clase está como hizo
Ya,
la
pero
compañera.
no quiero que presentes una lesson plan. O sea, quiero que hagas tu clase. Me explico. No me presentes una lesson plan. A ver, ¿cómo vas a hacer? Déjame, muéstrame, por favor.
Ya. ¿Me permite compartir la...?
Ya está, tú puedes compartir.
Ya, perdón. Permítame subir. Ya, yo voy a trabajar.
Eso es lo que te estoy diciendo. No tienes por qué presentarme esto. Eso es una lesson plan. Eso es para tu, perdón. Para eso le presentas a tu coordinador de inglés. Tú me tienes que presentar en una clase, como hicieron tus compañeros. Esto es tu lesson plan, Isabel.
Entonces
tú me tienes que dar una clase, como cualquier clase, así como hizo Lourdes, que como que simular que nosotros somos tus alumnos y tú, hello students, no tienes que decir, esta va a ser una clase, no, tú tienes que empezar tu clase dando una clase, ¿ya? Como lo hizo
por
Lourdes.
ejemplo, yo empezaría solo presentando las imágenes, luego trabajaríamos el vocabulario.
Ya, pero tú tienes que cambiar eso, porque tú me has hecho como un lesson plan. O sea, sí me explico, no tienes por, o sea, cámbialo, o sea, lo puedes hacer en Word, pero cuando tú presentas tu clase a tus alumnos, tú le pones before class vocabulario, eso le pones. Before class vocabulario.
Así, por ejemplo, en este caso yo voy a trabajar.
No, o sea, esto es como tú lo que me estás presentando ahorita es una lesson plan. Yo no estoy pidiendo que me presentes una lesson plan. Yo estoy pidiendo que me hagas una clase. La lesson plan ya me la enviaste, ¿verdad? Eso ya está enviado. Tú ya me enviaste una lesson plan. Hola. Hola. Hola.